Hey, Coach Roger Cador here. There's something about teamwork that brings the best out in any business. When I need a tow, I call Roadrunner Towing. Roadrunner's 4 generations strong and homegrown right here in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Coach. There's no job too large or too small. Call Roadrunner for quick, reliable, exceptional service. We don't want an arm and a leg, we just want your toes. And remember, take time each day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you.
Beep, beep.
It was nearly a decade ago that Brett teamed up to Imagine Your Parks, and you imagined big. 12 beautiful community parks from one end of the parish to the other, 1 family-sized water park, and 5 other parks just for your dogs. You have places to splash and places to explore. You have games to play and camps galore. No matter what you like to do or see, visit Breck.org and see how together we have made Breck better than imagined.
You don't have to understand the physics of flying to fly easy. Baton Rouge Metropolitan Airport.
I'm with the Mark Sanders cooking crew, enjoying some boudin this morning. These guys do a great job whenever there's a community service event. They're here in numbers. I learned a lot from a 15-year-old today. You know, all these old veterans, they couldn't teach me. He said, come here, let me show you how to do it. So it's a great experience. We're going to have this walk run in a minute. So I'm just eating some boudin, Marty. What a great event. I'm so proud to be chairperson for this Alzheimer's Association, Walk, Run to Remember. As you could see, so many people are involved participating in this event. We have runners, and a lot of people, as you can see, are walking just to make the awareness how dreaded this disease is. So this is the 24th year of the event, and we want to make it bigger and better because we want people to know about this disease and try to find a way we can eradicate it from this earth. So I'm just so happy people like Mr. Charlie Veluso has been very instrumental in getting me to be a part of this. So thank you.
Hello and welcome to week 2 of season 2 of the Roger Cador Show. The video you just saw was from Coach and yours truly out and about at the 24th annual Alzheimer's Services of the Capital Area Walk, Run to Remember. Coach, a great organization, a great event, and a great way to help some worthy people. I
tell you, I felt so good. I felt rejuvenated, and because there were so many people out there giving for such a worthy cause, and so many families have been touched by this disease.
That's right, that's right. And you know, like most successful people, you understand the value of community service. And you had the chance to speak with the guy that has been doing this for a very, very long time, aside from his business obligations. And a McDonald's logo kind of lets people know who we're talking about?
Yeah, my friend Charlie Veluso. And one of the reasons I got involved is because Charlie gave me a personal call and told me he needed me involved in it. And I said, wow, how can I turn you down, big guy? I said, I'm in, you know, and that's the kind of thing when people come a calling about a worthy organization, you have to just do it, you know?
Yeah. Well, let's go back and revisit that conversation with Coach Roger Cador and Charlie Veluso at the 24th annual Alzheimer's of the Capital Area Walk, Run to Remember.
Charlie, I know you for 24 years. You've been very instrumental in supporting this organization. Tell me what it means to you.
Well, Coach, you know, way back when, my dad had Alzheimer's, and I searched in this community for answers, somebody that could help me, tell me what's going on, when will he be better, you know, next directions, you know, what's the prognosis, and I couldn't find any answers. and I was so frustrated. And even my sister came down, who had her PhD in social welfare. We found there was a phone called the phone here. You could call that with a question, and they may or may not have the answer for you. But I said, this is not going to work. So anyway, I took it upon myself, got a few more people involved, and we got this thing changed. So we really have something that we're proud of here in this community. You know, about 6 years ago, we won the Adult Care Center Award in the United States. 2 days ago, we won the McKinsey Adult Care Award. And it's just, you know, you don't go out to get awards, but you do want to come out and make a difference for the community. It's just such a, you know, I am so proud to be just a little bit part of this thing. And then a year ago, be able to take it down and open Charlie's Place 2 down in Ascension Parish down in Gonzales. It's been a great run.
Well, I've seen Charlie Place 1, and I see what that facility and the workers are doing for the people. It's such a happy environment.
It is. I mean, like last week they did a off-site visit. They went down to Ricky Bourgeois' bowling place down in Gonzales, and they all went bowling. I mean, it's just, but for them to give the caretakers a break, you know, a 5-hour break, so the caretaker can go do anything, go to the doctor, you know, go shopping, just get a rest, but they're in good hands. And with, you know, music therapy and all the other different types of therapies, you know, we sort of bring them out of their shell, and they love it. They love coming. The caretakers love us being there, taking giving them a break. It's a wonderful, wonderful, you know, thing to be involved in.
Well, I tell you, I want to just say thank you for getting me involved, because, you know, once you told me about it, I called my sister and asked her how many family members she knew had this disease, and she started naming them, and I said, I have to be a part and do this for Charlie.
No, not for Charlie. You got to do
well,
it.
We're doing it for the organization.
Hey, Coach, I appreciate that.
But you know,
you and I have been friends a long time. But anyway, what we do what we're doing to give back to our community that's been so good to us.
Yes. Thank you, Charlie. We appreciate you taking the time. Okay.
All right.
Certainly it was a good time had by all, and thank you on behalf of Coach, Charlie, Alzheimer's Services of the Capital Area, and yours truly for coming out and taking part. When we come back, we're going to talk a little football on the Roger Cador Show. Stay close.
It was nearly a decade ago that Brett teamed up to Imagine Your Parks, and you imagine big. 12 beautiful community parks from one end of the parish to the other, one family-sized water park, and 5 other parks just for your dogs. You have places to splash and places to explore. You have games to play and camps galore. No matter what you like to do or see, visit Breck.org and see how together we have made Breck better than imagined.
You don't have to understand the physics of flying to fly easy. Baton Rouge Metropolitan Airport.
Hey, Coach Roger Cador here. There's something about teamwork that brings the best out in any business. When I need a tow, I call Roadrunner Towing. Roadrunner's 4 generations strong and homegrown right here in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Coach. There's no job too large or too small. Call Roadrunner for quick, reliable, exceptional service. We don't want an arm and a leg, we just want your toes. And remember, take time each day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you.
Beep, beep.
Welcome back for segment 2 of week 2 of the Roger Cador Show. Coach, the Jaguars had a bye week last week, so let's talk a little LSU football. Tigers lost their first game of the season last week on the road against the Florida Gators. When you have a team that really wasn't expected to deliver a whole lot, they come out of the blocks like a house of fire. what does it do to them when they lose that first game?
Well, we don't know yet. We have to wait and see because they're playing Georgia. But I remember I said that Mullen was a good coach, and I anticipated Florida to come out and play well.
Right.
The one thing that Florida did that they continue to do is takeaways.
Right.
They really on the plus side with their takeaways. And that defense is very good, and Mullen kept a very simple offense with the quarterback, Frank, who is not that good.
Right.
But he kept the offense simply enough where he kept him in the game. But that defense really played. And that was a crucial play when one of the defensive linemen caused the fumble on the quarterback, Burrows.
Right.
And when LSU was about to go in and score, get him out.
That was huge. That was huge.
Turned the game around.
You look at the fact that the Bulldogs are kind of rolling into Tiger Stadium, ranked number 2 in the nation. When you get a team like Georgia up next, well, this really kind of compounds the toughness of your schedule because Florida just exposed a pretty glaring weakness. It kind of makes it kick it up a notch, doesn't it?
Well, the good thing about playing Georgia after a loss to Florida is that they can't roll over and feel sorry for themselves.
Right.
They either have to step up and meet the challenge. So that's the beauty about playing that good team is that now the kids got to step up. And you know what? Georgia could be beaten a lot easier than Florida could, in my opinion.
Of course, now, if the Tigers can pull off the upset here, they are still firmly in control of their own destiny and can accomplish the goals that they want to.
Right, because they have to play Alabama. And that's the one team that everybody have to try and beat. And right now, I don't see anyone beating them because the quarterback is so good and they're a balanced team.
LSU has announced this week that they are expecting possibly one of the largest game day crowds in history this weekend for the Georgia game. Short of having experienced something like 100,000 plus in the stadium, another 10,000 or so on the grounds. What's it like to experience something like that if you've never done that before?
Well, a couple of years ago when they beat Alabama when Les was coaching, they had that kind of crowd, in my opinion, at Tiger Stadium. Maybe they had 40,000 people outside that couldn't get in, and over 100,000 inside that didn't want to go out. So it was really good.
When we come back, we will talk a record-setting Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints. Stay with us. It is week 2 of season 2 of the Roger Cador Show. Stay close.
You don't have to understand the physics of flying to fly easy. Baton Rouge Metropolitan Airport.
Hey, Coach Roger Cador here. There's something about teamwork that brings the best out in any business. When I need a tow, I call Roadrunner Towing. Roadrunner's 4 generations strong and homegrown right here in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Coach. There's no job too large or too small. Call Roadrunner for quick, reliable, exceptional service. We don't want an arm and a leg. We just want your toes. And remember, take time each day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you.
It was nearly a decade ago that Brett teamed up to Imagine Your Parks, and you imagine big. 12 beautiful community parks from one end of the parish to the other. 1 family-sized water park, and 5 other parks just for your dogs. You have places to splash and places to explore. You have games to play and camps galore. No matter what you like to do or see, visit Breck.org and see how together we have made Breck better than imagined.
Welcome back to segment 3 of this week's edition of the Roger Cador Show. Coach, the New Orleans Saints saw their star quarterback, Drew Brees, this weekend secure a place for himself in history as he became the all-time passing yardage leader on Monday night. Can you think of a nicer guy and a more deserving guy than Drew?
Nobody can. And when you look at him, he's not physically imposing.
Right.
He's 5'10", 5'11" at best.
Right.
And he does all of that. And so smart, but community service minded. No one is better than him. And
Amen.
the state of Louisiana, along with the city of New Orleans, owes so much to him when he signed with the Saints and saved the people when Katrina had hit. you
Right.
know? Made it a different place to live.
Now, it's one thing to talk about the city itself and the franchise itself, but how thankful should the league, the NFL, be for the fact that with all the hoopla surrounding the national anthem flap, all the talk about the off-field shenanigans and the concussion issues, to have a guy on nationwide television, if not worldwide, accomplish something historic and do it from a guy that has worked his butt off, number one, and number two, he's tried to do the right thing the right way.
Yeah, it was really good for the NFL because it's a positive image that they need because they've had a lot of, the last couple of years, been really a lot of negatives surrounding them. But so people saw what it's all about. There are a lot of good people like Breeze who are playing the game of football in the NFL. They just get overlooked because of all the other mess.
Sadly, though, there's still a lot of folk out there that refuse to consider Drew Brees in the conversation of the greatest that have ever played the game. Most of them say that it's because he's not won multiple rings like a Joe Montana or Peyton Manning or a Tom Brady. For you, what do you put more stock in? The number of championship rings or the pure statistical numbers?
Well, it all matters, you know. It's just that the lawyers, the people who write, want to say that it's about championship. Well, championship is one thing. Some of the greatest players didn't win championship.
Correct.
Because they weren't surrounded by the amount of talent they needed. But when you look at Joe Namath won one championship.
Right.
Peyton Manning won two. And they all played along. But I think what Brees has done, because physically he wasn't that talented, and I think that's why people look. He's not flashy.
Right.
He just gets the job done.
Right.
But he's so heady and smart. He makes good decisions on the field.
Yeah. And it's one thing when you talk about his decisions on the field, but can you think of a quarterback in recent memory that is more beloved by the city where the franchise is located than Drew Brees?
I can't think of any. There are probably some, but we don't know about them.
Right.
We only go know about I tell you, and the whole state of Louisiana is just in love with Drew Brees.
How much does the fact that not only was he undersized, not the stereotypical quarterback, but the guy overcame an injury that for many athletes would have been a career-ending injury. On top of that, he quarterbacked a team that throughout the history of the franchise has never been loaded with talent like a lot of other franchises have been throughout the course of history. To me, from a layperson's point of view, those numbers accomplished with what he had to work with obviously makes him a guy that you've got to include in the conversation.
Oh, he's included. I mean, we're not going to worry about one or two people saying negative thing or not accepting, but he's included in the conversation. But when you think about that injury, and I think he made the decision to come to New Orleans because of Sean Payton.
Right.
Because he felt that man would be, that coach would be patient with him. And because the Saints didn't have anything going for him.
Right.
You know, why else would he come other than the coach? Because he put him in the system, and look what has happened.
When you look at the competitive fire that obviously burns within a guy like Drew Brees, how dangerous is a guy like that when he feels as though, oh, you kicked me to the curb now because you think I'm hurt? How dangerous is a guy with his talent level to put in a position with a brilliant mind like a Sean Payton and then give him something to prove?
Well, I think good players like that don't get involved in revenge. Revenge is a negative thing. I just think that they just take what they have, put a game plan together, and make it work.
Well, make it work. They've certainly done that, and it has worked like a charm. When we come back, we'll go to segment 4 of this week's edition of The Roger Cador Show. Stay with us.
Hey, Coach Roger Cador here. There's something about teamwork that brings the best out in any business. When I need a tow, I call Roadrunner Towing. Roadrunner's 4 generations strong and homegrown right here in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Coach. There's no job too large or too small. Call Roadrunner for quick, reliable, exceptional service. We don't want an arm and a leg, we just want your toes. And remember, take time each day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you.
It was nearly a decade ago that Brett teamed up to Imagine Your Parks, and you imagine big. 12 beautiful community parks from one end of the parish to the other, 1 family-sized water park, and 5 other parks just for your dogs. You have places to splash and places to explore. You have games to play and camps galore. No matter what you like to do or see, visit breck.org and see how together we have made Breck better than imagined.
You don't have to understand the physics of flying to fly easy. Baton Rouge Metropolitan Airport.
Welcome back for the final segment of this week's edition of the Roger Cador Show. Coach, let's go back for a moment to the 24th annual Alzheimer's Services of the Capital Area Walk, Run to Remember event. It's not possible to put together an event of that magnitude without having some folks that, quite frankly, know what they're doing when it comes to putting together big events like this. And this event was no exception, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of hard work and a lot of volunteers. I mean, a lot of people stepped forward and did it. I mean, I'm impressed with the fact women are really wonderful, how they're able to do all of this and did it with a big smile.
That's right. That's right. And as a matter of fact, Coach had the opportunity to talk with one of the women that made this thing be the exciting event that it always is. So let's go back and revisit that conversation.
We're here with Janice Robinson, a member of the Bourgeois family, who has been #1 at this fundraiser. Well, not a fundraiser, but activity, the Alzheimer's activity. And tell me, how does it feel and how you all get so many people involved?
Well, we're a large family. My dad was one of 12 siblings, and 10 of the 12 had Alzheimer's or still have Alzheimer's. And so we just years and years ago started off with this, and they all come out. The second, third, fourth cousins come out. They want to run, they want to walk and help us, and we do fundraisers, and we have bean pots that we raise money all year long, and we come and we put it in a big jambalaya pot today, and we just get everybody involved, and it's a good thing to have.
I tell you, it's really a fine example you all are setting to see family getting together and doing such a wonderful cause. It should inspire other families to do the same thing.
That's correct. We have other, different side of the bourgeois family, but we still take them in and they can walk with us. And our family's pictures on the back of our shirts.
Well, that's a wonderful thing. I just wanted to have you say a few words so the people out there can understand how important it is to your family, this disease, because so many family members have it.
Coach, if there is a young professional out there or an experienced, seasoned professional listening right now, as well as a young person just starting out, what can you tell them about the importance of giving of themselves in a public service fashion?
Well, many people are Bible oriented,
right,
and I'll tell them, look at the finest example set by the one person, Jesus Christ. That's what he did.
Mm-hmm.
He was a public servant.
Yeah.
He didn't get paid for what he did. He did what the people needed. So take that, follow that example, and just give back. It strengthens the community.
Yeah, and it's been my experience, and I've watched so many others over the years do the same thing. Typically, you get back a whole lot more than you give out. Has that been your experience?
Oh, yes, it has. I mean, that's why I enjoy doing it. Never hesitate when I'm asked to do something.
Let's step back to Southern University for a moment. The Jaguars were enjoying a bye last week, but some great news came out recently. The Black College Hall of Fame announcing recently that they've whittled down out of 150 some odd names the finalists for the 2019 Hall of Fame class. And one of the names is a name, well actually two of them, but one in particular is a name that every Jaguar fan on the planet knows, and that's A.W. Mumford. Certainly deserving of that honor if he wins it.
Why wait so long? I mean, that's what's so incredible.
Yeah.
This man should have been in.
Of course, now, also, the guy with arguably what I think is maybe the greatest name ever in football, former Southern defensive star Rich Tombstone Jackson, also a finalist as well. And not only was he a standout at Southern, but he went on to the NFL, had a stellar career with the Broncos, and I think it was the late Al Davis, owner of the then Oakland Raiders, that said Tombstone was the greatest player in the history of the Broncos organization. Do you think enough people truly understand the richness of the heritage of black college football and Southern University in particular?
Oh, no, well, this generation don't because they're way removed from it.
Right.
But people our age and a little older have a great relationship, a great understanding, and a great remembrance of how great football was in the SWAC.
Well, if you ever want to perform a family service for the young people in your household, give them an education on the likes of A.W. Mumford, the guy whose name is outside the stadium on campus, and start delving into some of the other names that have come through that fine institution. It's something that certainly bears remembering, but maybe more important, it deserves passing that on to our young people and keeping that very rich, storied history, not just alive, but also flourishing as well. After all, if we don't respect and keep our own heritage going, when all is said and done, who else is going to do it? That's going to wrap up week 2 of season 2 of the Coach Roger Cador Show. On behalf of the guys out in the truck and, of course, Marty right here on the floor, we are so grateful and so thankful that you took the opportunity to let us come into your homes and spend a little time with you. And, of course, it goes without saying, we look forward to seeing you next week with another exciting edition of the Roger Cador Show. See you then.